Is that, can you hear? Can you hear that? Can you hear that at the back?
Yeah.
Okay. Tom and I are going to read for you now some poems. Is that right?
We call them that.
Okay. These are called 6 pieces. They're called footprints, and they started with some poems by Jeremy Prynne that I was reading, and I took a couple of words out of each line of these poems of Prynne's, and so they're long, thin poems that were borrowing words from Jeremy Prynne, and then I sent them to Tom, who then did something with them.
I added an 1890s guidebook to the Pyrenees.
So it was Prynne, and that suggested the Pyrenees, and so they were called footprints. So they're kind of about walking. So I'm going to read number 1 to start this. Days are a proposition laid by desolate gorges, the body a repulsive-looking landlord, into muscle, blood-red capas. The dark clouds and chasms, ancient summit Alps, valleys of a richer southern sunlight, smell of a Frenchman and orange peel saturated within the first 3/5, muted interchange in the iridescence of the descriptions of energy. The usual perfunctory faces at the scanty distant mountains, memories of the lonely roads walk by a doughty colonel, open terrace twice girdled in soft banditti, nothing which the Pyrenees, a skyline untrodden by Americans. In our city of the great Tsar, chemistry is livid heat, reduced to coigns of vantage, bid on a Biscayan beach, her suite making ready. Condition of bright awnings, the palest green verandas, single spark of its sober, unornamental business government.
Number 2, the desert, the summer season at Biarritz, plain skids, the billows lap the shore enticingly. Hopeless departure has no history, that it can here work more good is far from the waves. In the Palais Royal at Paris, years part some Frenchless friends into latent boatmen and candy peddlers. Action of the waves, more there. Between the horses' feet, affection shoot, these children have a white rat. A crazed and dedicated expanse, our conveyances are all cumbrous as propaganda. A changed empress came to Biarritz, Petromorph making a social line of textiles. Intelligence news sheltered by obscurity or fact. The mantle has not fallen over distance, the nucleus of Biarritz and further. As water came to Biarritz, a captive monkey took refuge here. The first Iberian desert cistern, with the animal clinging worriedly to it, is false. The thinning, pleasantly aging Englishman of the broad, swelling person loved fingering a light bamboo. His compulsion is friable and defenceless in musical sorcery, nearly but not yet back into the doors of Spain. The remotest take a capable journey en cachalot over any warm fracas undreamed of at Crawford's or at the Grand Union. Love, always sipping its coffee or cordials. Flight back over near roofs to where she found herself still loftily ignored. We are the waves of Biarritz.
3. In a little shift, blazing with buttons and very white duck trousers, we ascend into the jungle. The banks roll out brilliant across blue sky and blue water. Comfortingly braced, we take the sea road for a 6-mile drive northward. A safety net gives unmixed joy to our jolly driver. North Essex has still a trace of the free, out-of-door spirit of its lawless prime. Towards delicious pines and poplars standing even in frost. Dazzling views of the market collapsing into feudal enmities, cold thought in this June sunshine. There are Spaniards here and drafts known as a sphere interest, The Fahrenheit differential is reminiscent of the past. Of antique alarms, it has protracted recall, a train ride from 1706 until 1738, near prospect by way of contrast, made at Biarritz. A local craft killed 7 young men. Read about the seamen of Normandy. Art industry should no longer keep the franchises. The latter might with justice impose a tax imposed by 6 proficient bagpipe players while looking with their dirks. This dirty Duchess of Berry and her high-beveled cheeks, hot and sandy, skilfully seasoned, would believe what men felt, whipping up smoke and flames, thought and pale and red bodies, French gold watching the swelling.
Number 4. Biarritz. One quickly feels the slender charm of the city shaken for the bathing hour to virtue. At 6, the curving Atlantic with raised bank, the Spanish frontier. The river, down at the left and rear, quivers in a Russian nobleman. Our needs find a promising little grocery store and vanish. The distraction visibly hardening, almost empty drinking glasses. Notes sounded, filling the horizon in their huge, not being driven away. Extensive cod fishing of sounds, skygrass, sweet hay near the altar, cryptic slopes extended from the residence of Anne of Austria, this fading fleur-de-lis, over a beaten path which was richly carpeted, coiled into crooking ways. Prairie herbs and some Albert biscuits, and a bottle or 2 of lemonade run out. The hostility of miles, only 13 hours from Paris.
5. Saint-Jean-de-Luz, more than the unlegendary railroad. The pivot duly vised of want. We have, in every sense, they say, a deeply notched bay, driving through a concert or ball in the early morning with the dog. Such sense of withdrawal we take, and are inspired of being nearer to the rocks we are not conscious, cut down by the soldiers of Wellington, any hope vanished. The heart is a casket without its jewels, a fashion immediately after the event of leaving. We fear for the negatives and sit by cramped and forbidding traffic lights in the west half. The place is styled the Brighton of Madrid, of change. The hot-headed Protestant missionary blew out rocks. Trees take forms of oblong yellow buildings. This arena, welded by a central promenade where each season is coextensive with the summer season at Biarritz. Movement in the hornwork. Distance is beyond imagination. This sunny rock point well merits the climb and any attendant risk.
Number 6. Fuenterrabia fills with logic, 3 syllables jut out from every window. To see it is an epitome of Spain, an immense unbroken line of serenades and senoritas, not snow. Fuenterrabia is not all steeped in dreams of the past, as if the mossy courtyard enclosed with strain is a rift in the lute. A grey preceding traveller saw this sign when here and quotes it in a curious way. A Spaniard hates a tree. Now, in Kenilworth, Jerusalem, Cairo, we turn and see again the disillusioning legend, Massachusetts, only a 4-hour ride. More than San Sebastian, you see the dripping oars, the retinal short perspective. World banks had an odour of immense salvation, worshippers at every hour. Too late the other facade was rebuilt. Would reward the poorer houses, may reveal the tariff, the dismantled walls of cloud, the gleams of greaves and breastplates, still fresh. The ivy green climbs along the grey stones. Thank you. Thanks.